Send them out.
Send them out. All right, welcome back. This is the Hip Factor. Hopefully you guys listened to episode 1 of our World Shoot podcast. This is episode 2. Go back and listen to episode 1. Again, just to tell everybody who we have here. We have Heffrey Cawthorn, we have Jay Beal, we have one Saul Potato Allen, Mr. Robert Croft, and myself, Jeremy Reed. All super happy. Jay, we might lose Jay. If you see him nodding off, look, we are past his bedtime.
He'll be yawning.
Yeah, but he's sticking into it, and I'm glad about that. So this last episode, we kind of just talked about generalities, a little bit of our like how we finished, but I want to get into the match itself. So Saul, talk about a little bit just just kind of elaborate just the format of the match, like so squatting, like schedule, kind of the craziness of that, maybe the opening ceremonies, closing ceremonies, just kind of give everybody a good sense of what just the format of the match looked like.
So the match was run like we mentioned previously as 2 matches, a pre-match and a main match. The pre-match was shot in 5 consecutive days with a lot of ghost squads. Not all of the zones were active. The main match was shot 6 days. Every schedule had 1 day off. My day off was the first day. Jeff and Jeremy's was the last day. Jay's was the 3rd or 4th day, and Bob's was the 4th or 5th. The 5 of us were all on the same heat. Essentially, they ran 4 heats a day. So instead of a standard sort of split schedule where you're AM, PM, there were 4 distinct heats. And as all of us have mentioned, the pacing was absolutely amazing and absurd. Typically less than 2 hours to shoot 6 stages, 8-person squads, 2 to 4 ROs on every bay, plus 1 to 5 resetters whose sole job was to patch as you were shooting and slap wet paint out of a paint can onto the steel.
That was crazy.
All right, like no spray paint, like paint can and paintbrush. The steel goes down and somebody's already down there standing it up and you're past it and the swingers reset at unload, show clear. So the pacing was absolutely next level, and they managed it very well.
Bob,
everyone backed up at various points, but
I would also add that they were actually brassing the stages in between squads.
Amazing.
Yeah. Think about that.
And yeah, it's again, that part of the match flow was amazing. It was kind of a dream to shoot if you're going to shoot a match like that, because it meant you had so much time to collect yourself off the range. And I got more sleep than I do in real life. I know Jeremy had a rough couple of nights to begin with, adapting to time change. But once we'd been there for a bit, I mean, I was sleeping longer and better than I have in months.
It was because you're a sleep mate.
Yeah, it's because I got to share a room with Jay. And I had to be very quiet because I didn't want to affect his performance. Yeah. So it got me to bed earlier. I couldn't, watch a lot of videos on my phone or something. I don't know what I'd do. So, there was an opening and closing ceremonies. The opening ceremonies was super cool. They did it at a stadium for a local private high school. Big stadium. You've got all of the teams represented, including the teams like Japan, United Arab Emirates, Romania that had single representatives. They still had a flag and a banner. And then massive teams like the U.S., Philippines, Italy, Brazil, South Africa, obviously. And the opening ceremonies, I was really impressed. There was very little speechifying. It was really, the focus was on getting everybody out there, getting the sort of full walk and parade, a really, really cool local dance, a local sort of cheer squad also did a number, and they set us, away. The closing ceremonies, the problem is when you've got 120 categories, and then it goes on for 7 hours. And there's lots of theories about how to fix that. But the match structure, I thought they did the actual shooting bit. They handled 1,700 shooters phenomenally well. Everything around it may have been a cluster, but the shooting wasn't effective. Yeah,
they clearly prioritized making sure that every shooter got through as efficiently as they could. That obviously became a massive priority. There were way less equipment checks than we typically have experienced, even at IPSC matches in the U.S., which are not normally as hard as international IPSC matches. One thing I think Saul said this, but so 4 shooting slots per day, not 2, not 3. There were 4. We started shooting at 6:30 a.m. on our first day. 6:30 a.m. and you're shooting your first stage for a world shoot. We left our lodge at 4:45. Jeff and I actually had that 6:30 time slot twice. So it's 6:30
and me.
Oh, and you did it. Yeah, you did it twice too. So 6:30 time slot,
Guys.
9 a.m. time slot, 12:30, and then 3. Right. So I mean, that was kind of crazy. So then again, if you listen to the 4 of us besides Saul were on teams. So we were squatted with 3 other Americans each, and then what other respective team we were squatted with. So the classic team, there was no in the world shoot, the previous champion will be paired typically with the previous person who finished second. Normally they will also have a third squad, which would be the host country. Is typically how they've done in the past, but this time they only had 8 shooters. There was only 8 shooters per squad. And even though you're not resetting, you'd think you'd have time, not with short courses and not with only 8 shooters. That was kind of nuts. So the classic team was squatted with a Spanish team, and they were awesome. A couple could speak decent enough English. A couple weren't great English speakers, and my Espanol is not too great. Jay, you guys were squatted with the
Thai team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they won the last world shoot, yes?
Yes, they won team last world shoot, and then so we were squatted with them. And yeah, they were super cool. They love talking to those guys. Again, some of them had more English than others, but yeah, they were good. We started joking with them like the first day, first stage.
Yeah,
it was great.
Yeah, and Bob, you was on the standard team again, and he was squatted with Filipinos. Where are we going to go first with this? What drama do we want to hit? What about the match do we want to? Let's talk about who wants to kind of just describe the stages quickly, because we don't want to spend a lot of time on it.
I'll quickly do it. I'm going to quickly describe the stages. There was some video from this match from a year ago, from the African Handgun Championship at the same range, and you got a pretty good picture of the vibe. And that was, targets are pretty close, the bays are pretty small. Nothing's going to be super complicated, and that's what it was. It was close targets, higher hit factors, simple start positions, and simple stages, because and that's another thing for match flow. So that's what it was. It was not outside of what I expected.
Yeah, and honestly, with you got 3-minute walkthrough, the stages couldn't be a whole lot more complicated, right? Like there wasn't, especially for low cap guys. I don't know about you people with all the rounds, but with 8 rounds in the gun, like if they had been a whole lot more complicated, it would have been a big challenge, right? I mean, Jeff, our first stage, right? I mean, you were 100% in the fire stage 1 of the match, if I remember right. And I think that wasn't, or was it the strong hand stage where I was like, hey, just shoot this plan? Was it our first stage or that one?
I don't think it was the first stage, because I thought I was going to be first, and then the order was weird, and I ended up not being first for a while.
Oh yeah, so this was crazy. So the order of the shooters, I don't know, Potato, maybe you experienced this, because did you start on the first stage of the zone?
We did not. So it was alphabetical based on the stage ordering of the zone.
Yeah.
So if you started on stage 7, then you shot 7 to 12. That's great. That's easy for Bob. You start on stage 1, that's easy for Jay. If you start on stage 5, like you guys did, or start on stage 6, like I did, then that means the 6th shooter is the first. But then you go to stage 4, which actually means the 4th shooter is the first, because stages 1 through 6 are split into 2 subzones. So the order for us was our sixth shooter went first, followed by 7, 8, and then 1 to 5. Then we went to stage 4, and our fourth shooter was first, which meant the sixth shooter who had just been first is now third. Then you go to stage 5, and so the shooter who had been second on the first stage is now first. Then we go back to 1, and now, last name Allen, I'm the first shooter for the first time in the match on our fourth stage in the second subzone within the zone. Once we figured out the logic, it made sense, but it was absurd.
Yeah, so
sucks for you guys.
I'll explain the logic I think a little bit better. What they did is they pre-organized your shooting order simply based on stages 1 through 30, right? So it was alphabetical order, but it was automatically by 1 through 30, and you had 3 zones that were split where you would shoot the 4th, 5th, and 6th stage of that zone, and then you would go shoot the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd stage of that zone. So depending on where you were at in stage 1 through 30, you were alphabetical ordered all the way through, but your actual stage order that you shot was all jumbled up. And look, the other thing we can talk about, they don't use practice score. They have, I don't know who they're paying to do this win-miss scoring. It's absolutely awful. Like it is terrible. I was just talking to actually my dad today. He's like, it seems like they should be able to have some sort of scoring where we could look at scores a little bit better. And it's like, well, they do. It's available and it's free. It doesn't actually cost them anything to use. They just won't use it. So that's the joy of shooting IPSC is that their scoring system is awful, even though it's still hit factor scoring.
And the practice score results that people were following are not accurate. They're accurate for the hit factor and the relative point haul, but hit factor, practice score just ports that hit factor out and then assigns the simplest algorithm it can. So it just assigns Charlies and Deltas for penalties to make it add up to the correct hit factor. And so people are like, wow, you shot 5 Charlies and 7 Deltas on that stage. It's like, oh no, I didn't. I shot 2 Mikes and a Delta.
So all of my scores are actually accurate, though. Okay, I'm just pointing that out. All of my scores are accurate.
If you shoot no penalties and no Deltas, then it's correct. That's true. And Jeff's will be correct as well, but it gets weird for the rest of us.
Honestly, like that actually affected me because we did look at Cernagaj's score. We'll go here next. We'll ask Jay. We'll ask Jeff. Jeff about this. We looked at Cernagaj's score. Robbie Cernagaj, who finished first in Classic, shot the pre-match. He did not shoot the main match with all of his competitors. He also shot it in 2.5 days. He did not shoot over the 5 days of the actual pre-match. So he shot 12 stages, 6 stages. But we only looked at his practice score, and it showed that he shot 0 deltas and a few penalties. And it was
5 misses.
It showed 5 misses, right? And you were looking at his times versus some other people that shot. It's like, holy crap, he shot incredibly fast and he shot 0 deltas. Holy piss. Like, yeah, with a couple penalties, but dang, that's crazy. I'm not gonna lie, like it's somewhat, it did affect me on day 1 before I realized that, oh no, he probably did shoot deltas. It just wasn't in practice score that way. Cause I think I shot 4 deltas in my first 3 stages. It was like, well, I've already shot 4 more than he did for the whole match. So looking at scores is sometimes not good. But we do bring up a little bit of drama because we do have the main match champion of Classic at this. You've had time to reflect. How do you feel about that Robbie Cernagaj, he wins the match, but he shoots the pre-match and he shoots an accelerated form of the pre-match?
I mean, I don't like it, right? I would prefer that he shot with us, right? I'm not going to say that he wouldn't have won anyway. I mean, I've shot against Robert Cernagaj, and he's beat me before. I've beat him before. So I would prefer he didn't shoot that match, schedule. I would prefer that he would have been required to shoot the main match with the rest of us, but what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
I know what you can do. You can pay a whole lot of money to be a sponsor at the match, and then you'll be able to do whatever you want.
And
I can't do that.
You have to also not be on the team. So if you're part of a team, you're required to shoot on the team schedule.
Right.
The loophole for being a top competitive shooter is to not be on a team, so your country can't have many people who shoot your division well, and then you have to be a sponsor. So there's a high bar.
Yeah. So next time
you're going to move to Trinidad. You're going to move to Trinidad and take your innings and sponsor the match.
Yeah. So next time when I'm making a bunch of money, I won't shoot on the team, so Jeremy's scores can't drag me down, and then I'll pay, and I can shoot the free match.
I can at least say because we talked to lots of other classic shooters that finished in the top 10, and I didn't speak to a single one that was not pretty frustrated at having a guy to win the match and he was there. That was the deal. He was there for the entire time for the match.
Yeah.
He was coaching some Italian shooters, is my understanding.
Yeah.
And I don't think it should be allowed personally. It's just not right.
The other thing to consider is Robert Cernigage is not some outlier who's coming out of nowhere with no reputation or no history of match performance leading up to a world shoot to say, this guy's not a top competitor. It's just some kid who popped up out of nowhere. That's not what we're dealing with here. Yeah. We're dealing with a guy who's a known entity. He has competed internationally as well as in the U.S. for years at a winning and or podium level, right? So for IPSC to allow someone who is an obvious potential winner of a division, not only to shoot a pre-match, but to shoot a modified schedule of a pre-match, in my mind, is not actually putting competitive equity at the forefront of the event.
So let's talk competitive equity. Because, it is the world shoot, and they talk a lot about how this is the top of the sport. And they bring in the best ROs, and that they want it to be the best competition. And competitive equity is super high on it. They want to have that. Bob, what was your experience as far as competitive equity goes at this match?
Well, that's an interesting question, Jeremy. So,
we can name names. It's fine.
Nobody I know, and I will.
Pour yourself another drink first, so we can get the full story. One more drink, and then we'll get the full story. Keep going. Drink it. Well, there we go.
Let's have some silence here for a moment.
Yeah, wash it all around.
For anyone who's interested, this is a Willet 11-year family estate rye, which is a single barrel Willet rye, bottled at 117.8 proof. This barrel was named Even Flow, and this bottle is number 36 out of 150. Now that we have that out of the way, I competed I represented, I should say, the standard team for the U.S. alongside Scott Brown, Gianni Giordano, and Joey Sauerland. And we were squatted which those guys are amazing. With this being my first world shoot, it was actually the first world shoot for all of the members of the standard team. And it was an absolute honor and a privilege to be able to represent the U.S. with these guys. They're fantastic people. We were squatted with the Filipinos. The Filipinos have effectively the two most prolific standard shooters that we have seen in probably the last 10 years, easy. We're talking about Khalil and Bro Texan. And Khalil Vare and Bro Texan both finished this match in the combined overall. If you looked at those scores in Practice Score Competitor, to Saul's point, the hit factors are correct. It's just a modification of the points to get to that number. They both finished this match in the top 10 in the combined overall. That is insane with iron sights. Absolutely insane. And then they had, I'm blanking on his name. He's Junior. They called him Junior, but I'm blanking on his first name.
Joseph?
Joseph Alfredo Catalan Jr.?
Yes, Joseph Jr. So you had Bro Texan, you had Khalil Vare, you had his little brother Adrian, and then you also had Joseph Jr. That was the Filipino team. And the number 1 and number 2 seeds on the Filipino team are incredible. They are absolutely amazing talents. I had never shot a match with any of these Filipinos before. And the first 3 days were actually pretty quiet, right? It was, Khalil is very engaging, very nice guy, easy to talk to. Bro's a lot more reserved. So generally speaking, the Americans kind of stick to themselves, the Filipinos stick to themselves, and there's a little bit of interaction with ourselves, and especially Khalil. Khalil's a very personable guy. We get to the 4th day of the match, and we go over to our first stage of the 4th day, which, as I recall, was stage 25. I might have that wrong, but I think it was stage 25. And our first stage of the day, it's a field course. I think it's a 32-round field course, and the Canadian RO on that stage comes up to the entire American squad, myself, Joey, Scott, and Gianni, and he warns us before we even are written a stage brief or set foot on the stage. He says, "Hey, I heard that an American or a person wearing an American jersey named John said that in the event that any Americans are to have a bad run, just simply run back into the RO and force a reshoot." He said, "In the event that any of you attempt to do anything like that, I will disqualify you for unsportsmanlike." And I look at this RO and I said, "Who's John?" I said, "John who?" He says, "I don't know, but his name was John and he was wearing an American jersey." Well, I take great offense to this, obviously, because no one on the standard team's name is John. No one in this bay has said such a thing. We haven't even, we have just walked into the bay in preparation to begin shooting our 4th day of the match. And that is what we are greeted with. Well,
and understand one other thing, jersey swaps has already started happening.
Yes.
People are already swapping jerseys, and there's people wearing other jerseys and stuff like that around the match.
Yep. So obviously I'm old and somewhat crusty. I don't care about things like this, right? And I have been known in the past to get in fights with ROs. I elected in this situation to not start a big fight with this RO. But I will say this, I have the other members of the team are 19, 21, and 26 or 27 years old. And I will say that being greeted this way by an RO at a world shoot on a stage had an impact on some of the members of the team, right? They were really kind of taken back by this as to why is this guy threatening to potentially DQ us for unsportsmanlike conduct, right? That was bizarre, to say the least. So we shoot that stage. We move on to our second stage of the day, which is the weekend stage. One of the 2 weekend stages. There were 2 weekend stages and 2 strong hand stages, which would have been stage 26, I believe. And we shoot that stage. And the way the shooting order fell, alphabetical, but it just so happened to be that all 4 Americans shot in order, and then all 4 Filipinos shot in order. And all 4 of us had shot stage 26, the weekend stage. And we were halfway through the stage as far as the squad goes. And you have to understand that the speed at which these stages are turned around is ferocious. You finish shooting a stage and you immediately go back and you you prepare your equipment for the next stage and prepare whatever you have to do to shoot the next course of fire, because you don't have time to chat, socialize, hang out. They're turning shooters around in 20 minutes, 22 minutes. It's fast. We're halfway through the stage, and the RO from stage 27 leaves his bay, comes into the bay on stage 26 that the Americans have just finished shooting, and looks at us. I'm kneeling down on the ground because there wasn't a lot of area for shooters in a lot of these bays, right? A lot of the bays were just wide open. So I'm kneeling down on the ground, and I'm loading my magazines. And the RO says, "Are you guys done shooting?" And I said, "Well, some of us are." He said, "Well, come with me. We got to go shoot the next stage." So what are you talking about? Our squad is only halfway through stage 26. He said, "I don't care. If you're done shooting, you come with me. We have to shoot the next stage." This guy is adamant about and literally pulls the 4 Americans that have already finished shooting stage 26 out of bay 26 into Bay 27 and proceeds to read us the written stage briefing as 50% of the squad.
Oh,
none of the Filipinos are in the bay. And this psychopath reads us the stage briefing and has the Americans start shooting stage 27 without the Filipino team there. So this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. So we're shooting, and I remember getting done shooting and turning around and looking, and there's Bro looking at me with his eyes like saucers, like, what the hell is going on here? And I'm like, dude, I don't know. I was like, the RO came over and got us, and he was adamant that he was going to catch you guys up. And the RO backed me up. He's like, no, I'm going to shoot them first, and then I'll shoot you guys through. So this is beyond bizarre. I've never experienced anything like this in my life. So we get done shooting, and we're all hanging out in the shooting kind of shelter area there on Bay 27. And the thing you got to understand is that the World Shoot in these IPSC matches, you are not allowed in the bay unless you are the competitor who is up on the line or the on-deck competitor. And the only competitor allowed in the shooting area at the time is the shooter on the line. The on-deck shooter is basically allowed past a boundary line within the bay, but not allowed on the stage. Okay, so if you are not the shooter or the on-deck shooter, you are not even allowed effectively to be in the bay. And so at this point, the Americans are all removed from this bay. Well, Adrian Verrey, Khalil's little brother, shoots ahead of Khalil. And he makes ready after receiving a second stage briefing. Like, they literally split a 8-shooter squad in half. He receives the stage briefing with the rest of the Filipinos, makes ready, and proceeds to shoot this course of fire. It's a medium course. It was 17 to 20 rounds, somewhere in that neighborhood. I don't remember exactly. Probably around a 20-round course of fire. And he starts on the right-hand side of the course of fire, shoots 2 targets, steps to kind of the center of the course of fire, shoots the center part of the array, and then he needs to perform a reload in order to move to the left side of the course of fire and finish shooting the stage. Well, he shoots position 1 and he shoots position 2. I'm actually watching him shoot, but I'm out of the bay. And he finishes shooting the second position. He breaks the gun down from his shooting position, removes his left hand from the gun, is in the process of reaching for a magazine with his left hand, has yet to initiate the mag catch, however, but his gun is broken down, only his right hand on the gun, left hand reaching for the mag pouch, and the gun is clearly pointed up, like out of the bay up, and he fires around. He stops temporarily, looks back over his right shoulder, makes eye contact with the RO, doesn't hear the word stop, and ejects the magazine from the pistol, seats a magazine, begins shooting again, and prior to finishing the course of fire, the RO stops him. Now, I'm out of the bay, and I cannot hear anything that is said. You only have the ROs in the bay. You have Adrian in the bay as the shooter, and you have Khalil in the bay as the on-deck shooter. And I can't hear what is said, but I walk back to where the rest of the Americans are loading their magazines. They say, what in the world just happened? I said, well, Adrian just DQ'd. He just fired a round out of the bay during a reload, which is 100% what happened. Well, Adrian comes off the line. There are words exchanged between Adrian and the RO, and there are also words exchanged between Khalil and the RO, with him being in the bay. But I cannot hear. I don't know what is said. We're too far removed. And Khalil goes up, shoots the course of fire. The rest of the squad shoots through the rotation, and everyone gets done shooting, and we all look up, and Adrian is on the line making ready to reshoot the stage. And he shoots the course of fire and proceeds forward in the match, and goes ahead and finishes the match. Now, what was said and what kind of logic or reasoning was implied for that not to be a DQ, which stood, Last I checked, when you break your left hand off the gun, start reaching for a mag pouch, torch around out of the back of the berm while doing a reload is grounds for a DQ.
There's 3 DQs that took place in that instance. There were 3 separate DQs.
Was the Philippine delegate also involved in the conversation?
Yeah, the Philippine delegate was also in the bay. So those were the 3 people that were in the bay. Would have been Adrian as the shooter, Khalil is the on-deck shooter, and the Filipino delegate. Those are the 3 people involved.
I think that Philippine delegate had some deep pockets, is what I think.
Well, you had some experience with him on day 5, and we can talk about that later. So that was some of the interesting shenanigans that took place on day 4 for the standard team. Number 1, we're going to DQ you for unsportsmanlike conduct if we see you do anything fishy. Number 2, you've already finished shooting stage 26. Immediately proceed to stage 27, where we're going to split a squad in half. And then number 3, we're going to have a shooter on the Filipino team perform a DQable offense yet not be DQ'd. So pretty fascinating day 4 for us.
And Bob, you missed stage 27 was a really fun stage. It was the 2 opens, the 2 partials in the center of the stage. You reload into the corner. You get to smash a bunch of opens and 3 pieces of adjacent steel, and then transition out and pick up your last 2 paper that you left. There was good opportunities. Maybe he even snuck in a 180 break on that load. Maybe he sent around out of the stage past the 180. Well, who knows? It was a good spot for it.
Yeah. I've been doing this a long time, and I know what it looks like when a round gets fired out of a bay. And I will tell you right now, I would give you every dime I am worth right now. I would put every dime I have on the fact that this was 100% a DQable offense that was not upheld. Simply, it was called initially, but failed to be upheld by the match staff on the bay. I
mean, we had a guy.
At least it was day 4 and not day 1. Because day 1, we know someone who got hit in the head with a bullet, and that would have been really unfortunate if we could have connected those dots. Anyway.
Yeah, there were lots of people that got hit with bullets, but Kaylee Lane happened to take 2. Pretty bad hits. Yeah, we had a guy. He was a really nice guy. He broke 3 shots early on a. The first one, they actually stopped him and measured the distance to the ground. His all went into the ground. But he's presenting a gun. He's coming to a position, presenting a gun to a target, and boom, kicked off around halfway between him and the target. The RO stopped him, stepped it off. It was past 10 feet, and so he got to stay in. He did that 2 more times throughout the rest of the match. But the first one was the only time it ever got stopped. The other 2 times, he just kept going. It's like, what is going on here? That was kind of wild. So the last day, there were some other shenanigans on the standard squad. Johnny got some, I think he got some scores that weren't quite what he shot, it sounds like. And so they asked if I'd come delegate because I was done shooting by their last day. And yeah, Scott Brown, they tried to give him a mic on a double the target was 3 feet away. And it was the easiest 2-sphere double that I've ever seen. And then they go to the third to last stage for them. And one Khalil Varay, so there'd be the brother of this kid who DQ'd. He shoots through an open. There's about 4 open targets, maybe 4 open targets in a position. He kind of shoots through them, moving quite quickly, very very quickly, and he shoots one target, and it's a Charlie Mike. Well, of course, their delegates. He's going to look at it. The delegate, yeah, let's pull the target. And let's be fair, in a world shoot. In the U.S., people think if you pull a target, like if you ask to have a target pulled, you must be just an absolute a-hole, right? Like you just do not pull targets. At the world shoot, it's if the Argo says this is the score and you disagree, you just ask them to pull the target. They pull it, they put a new one on, they keep going, and the match keeps going. It's not a big deal to pull a target, frankly. But here he has a hit in the middle of a C zone. I'm the delegate for them, so I can actually be in the bay and I see it. It's like, okay, yeah, that's one. And it's in the C zone, not in the middle of the target, and he's shooting it on the move. And it gets scored a miss. The RM comes and scores it. It gets scored a miss. We go on. You finish the match, and a couple hours later, you look at scores. I think Gianni texted Bob, "Hey, did you look at Khalil's score on stage 28?" And sure enough, that somehow miraculously turned into a 2 Charlies and not a penalty. So yeah, there were shenanigans going on, and it does seem that I think IPSC needs to have a serious look at their competitive equity for their match, and if everybody takes this seriously, and will they take it seriously? Will they make sure their ROs take it seriously, and the ROs are unbiased? People like to see Americans lose.
Yes.
Like it was you got two responses there. There were some ROs that were super excited for Americans to come through, and they were really excited to see like a lot of Americans shoot. And the opposite was people very much wanted to see Americans fall and Americans fail.
So there was a top competitor who we all know after the match who told me that this is the only match that he ever goes to, and he's been to a lot of them, where he will argue for every mic at this match, whether he knows it's good or not. Because he just has to, because he knows every single person at his echelon is doing the same.
Correct.
And this is someone who has a sterling reputation, and who you wouldn't see them do that at the Nationals. They would walk away and be like, yep, alpha mic. But at this match, they know the people they're squatted with are doing that. And they know the ROs aren't going to look that closely at some people's, and they're going to look very closely at others.
And here I was looking at Bob's score and turning alphas into deltas. So, you know,
which
that
is
was
amazing.
Cool.
That was your first act as delegate.
That was my first act as delegate, is to make sure Bob had one more delta on his scorecard.
A little bit of personal interest there. We know that.
Yeah.
Make sure Bob won that race.
Yeah, I wanted him to. I don't know. Did he?
I can't tell, because it's IPSC ESS. We have no idea what any of his hits are. I'd have to go through each stage, and I'm not.
Oh, that's
I'm not about
worth
that life.
Okay, we're running out of time for this. We're about to lose Jay. He's almost gone. Like
I am not enough.
Oh, he is. Okay. Okay, let's go. What else are we missing from the match part of this? What else needs to be said? Let's talk
the PDO drama.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's. So can I frame it real quick?
What do you want to? I don't think you should be allowed to frame anything.
Oh, fine. I won't frame it. You go ahead. You go. Tell us, Jay.
Jay's a professional timber framer. Who could do a better job?
That's true. Do it, Jay.
I was doing some timber framing today. It was I that's why I didn't call you back, Saul, because I can't timber frame at the same time and talk about shooting.
But you did ultimately call me back, so.
By call you back, I mean like I called you first, and then you know, we did end up with a quick chat. So I was on the production optics team with Jacob Hetherington, JJ Rikaza. Well, I should say in the order that I qualified, because I did make the second spot. So it was Jacob, myself, JJ. Max had to drop out, and so we got alternate Tom Castro in. And that was the team. That was the four of us. And like Jacob, multiple times, at least one time that I can remember during the match, was correcting his score in the way of like, and this is what I want. Like, I think this is what a lot of people want, is the score that you shot, you know? So like Jacob shoots a stage and it's like, and Jacob's like, no, that was not an alpha. Like there was a Charlie, like put the Charlie back on, to himself. He's like, no, that was definitely not an alpha, or whatever it was, you know? And so like having that attitude, and especially on this squad, like because of JJ being on the squad. This is his 9th world shoot. Everyone knows JJ. Everyone loves JJ. For good reason. JJ's amazing. But to have Jacob behave that way, and for there to be generally an audience there to see that, was really cool. And I think that, you know, like if that becomes like that, I would love for that to become the default attitude that people have in competition, where they just want to get the score that they earned. like that would make so many things so much more simple. And if the delegate also just tried to get the score that the person shot on the stage. But I understand that, like, I guess we're not there yet where everyone's doing that. But behavior like that, brings us closer.
So you guys have plot armor from JJ because all the ROs
Yeah,
love him, and you've got everyone around. So
you have.
you got the friendliest version of the match.
Yeah, for sure, because JJ's there. Everyone, there's an audience, so the stage staff knows there's an audience. I mean, you can't help it. They're standing amongst a crowd of people anyway, and so there's a lot of stuff. Like I feel like the people on our. I mean, this is me half paying attention to everything that's going on as well. So I don't know exactly, but I feel like the scores that were recorded for our squad were the scores that people shot. Um, and so that makes me feel good just because of that sense. But I know that obviously that was not the case for everyone else. Um, and then all the drama stuff. I mean, it's interesting because like Tom Castro is a character, and like I actually like Tom as a person, and I'd never shot with him before. And so all I have going into shooting with Tom on a squad is just from other people who have literally sent me messages being like, Tom is a bad person. and and then I'm like, cool, like thanks. um, and so like my personal interactions with Tom have always been great. Like and so but anyway, what happens is that, Tom will get loud with people often in a joking way. He'll and by people I mean ROs. And and sometimes, like, if you don't know who Tom is, then that instantly is like, what are you doing? Like, why are you talking to me that way? And so there was some stuff that around that was kind of hard to watch, just from just like being on a squad where you're like, oh no, like this is really like you almost have to look away, but you can't, that kind of stuff. And like that's not really, like, I don't mean that to be a dig at Tom. I don't mean it to be a dig at people not knowing who Tom is and like kind of predicting what he may say and stuff like that. But that's just kind of what it was like.
I think that there's even, to be even more generous, there's also a little bit of a culture difference with IPSC. So I have a loud voice all the time, and I tend to wear passive ears, so I talk loudly. I'd be having a conversation with my anonymous squad, and people are like, "Oh no, they're about to shoot. Be quiet." It's like, this isn't golf. Like, they have 138 decibels, like 6 inches from their face.
Yeah.
Like, why does my voice 40 feet behind the exclusion line matter? But they, like, the conversation would continue as soon as they were done. But they're like, oh, everybody's got to be quiet, and it's like a little bit more golf-like. It's kind of like the IPSC vibe. And so
For
if you
sure.
come in there and you're like riling people up, and you're like rah rah, like they look at you like you're not allowed to do that at golf.
Yeah, I think that's well put. And so yeah, it's just like eh, things can be taken the wrong way very quickly. Um, and yeah, anyway, it's about it.
You made Jay uncomfortable, Jeremy.
That's why I didn't want Jeremy to talk too much.
I was actually going to frame it more towards the match part of it, but that's fine. I wasn't even going to bring that up.
Oh my God.
But I want to hear at least a little bit more about the match too, because
sure.
The drama's funny. And yeah, I'm sure you could talk to anybody surrounding the production optics team and you probably get stories, is my guess. But you're shooting against Eric, right? He wins his 10th world shoot. But he there were maybe a little bit of cracks at Carry Optics Nationals in 2024, right? He won, but that wasn't like he was not leading going into like he wasn't leading after the first day. And it seemed like he seemed okay. Somebody could beat him, right? That was kind of the first time it was like somebody could beat him, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people might have thought that. I mean, like I think reflecting on it after that match, it was pretty clear that he was just kind of chilling out at that match
Yeah,
in a sense because no one was there to push him. And then at this match, it was for sure different as far as people pushing him. And I think I don't know. Eric's done like a short interview. I think John Scouten had him on.
yeah.
Um, and that was a good listen. But yeah, I think Emil, who was on the French team, for sure was pushing Eric, especially on the last couple days. Like they were relentless in like the French team was relentless in their just building a lead on us in the US.
To be fair to you guys, because you guys had, I mean, yeah, you had Jacob Hetherington, yourself, and JJ. Those are the three scores that counted. Like, you guys had an absolutely stellar team, and y'all ran into probably one of the best team performances that we've had at a World Shoot. Now
Yeah.
I know the Revolver team swept it. I know the Open team swept it. They were gonna sweep it like that. There wasn't really much option for that to happen. But you have Eric. We expect Eric to somewhat win. But then Emil. I mean, Emil has like. Can you imagine being freaking Emil and you're French and you just grow up with Eric as your competition? Like he's never come close, and yet Emil is winning after day one, and then Robin comes in and I mean, it's Eric's son, but holy crap, he came in. I mean, day one, day two, he was, I mean, just absolutely crushing it, right? I mean, he was
Yeah.
right up there with all the big boys. And yeah, you guys ran into a buzzsaw, frankly. You just ran into a buzzsaw.
That was brutal. Yeah. Yeah.
In the John
I mean,
Scouten interview, he mentioned that after day one, Eric said he was really more focused on Robin's performance day one, and he saw
yes.
Robin was right up there with him and Emil, and he's like, okay, like now
I'll
I need to
focus on myself
me.
now.
Yeah.
I've done what I can for you. Like, be free, you
Yeah.
little bird.
Yeah, so
I
you
need
have
to win this match.
you have Eric finishing first in the match, Emil finishing second. So those are the first two French scores. And then the third score being Robin, who was 14th. Is that correct?
14th on 90%. Yep.
Yep. And then for us in the US, it was Jacob in third, myself in sixth, and then JJ in 13th.
Wow.
Right above him. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean it was I don't know, this is the other part where like we get back to the lodge and we'd like, be refreshing scores for the team, mostly for because that's what we were interested in, and it was like, all right, where are we at, what can we do? And it was pretty clear after the first couple of days for at least production optics, it was like, all right, let's defend the second place spot to the Philippines. And even that became difficult at certain times, but we ended up getting it. But yeah, that was.
And even to show how close
70 or 80 points after 2 days, and the number never got smaller.
No,
and
just
so
grew.
it's like, all right, well, what can you do? It's like that's not what we're doing now.
Yeah, and that's Eric's first time to win a team. He's never won a. I'm pretty positive he's never won a team at a World Shoot. And like just to show how close it was, when you guys finished, Jacob was in fourth, right? Am I remembering correctly? Was it Etzel? Etzel was in third, and then somebody won a stage after that and actually reversed those two.
There was a stage win.
A couple things.
Yeah. There was a score correction. I don't remember specifically what it was, Saul.
Okay.
Remember. There's also an erroneous score that should have been Jacob's stage win. That
gotcha.
The wrong score in there, and when they fixed that, then the points flipped, and there was score compression somewhere else. There was a few things, so it moved from one way to the other, but it was very, very, very close.
Yeah.
I mean, what was the ultimate? I'm just pulling it up now. It was 3 points in the end.
Yeah, 3 points. I remember I sent Jacob a message right when I saw that there, and I think he'd seen it at a similar time. And yeah, I mean, like that's awesome for Jacob to be able to finish on the podium.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. I think he was obviously like he wants to win. I mean, I think we all want to win. Um, but yeah, I mean, like that was pretty cool. And yeah, I don't know, it was really cool to after the first day to get to talk to the guys on the team and to hear JJ talk about how kind of impressed he was with the team working together and with and kind of with the group working together. And so that was very refreshing to hear. I was for sure like concerned coming into that for the team aspect, I wanted us to all be on the same page, and ultimately we were. And so it was refreshing. It was good.
Yeah, I'll say again, this is my third world shoot. I think the teamwork across the board and the emphasis on teams was much greater at this match than what I experienced in France. Yeah, I was much newer in the sport, so maybe I was less aware, but I felt like there was like the team part is becoming bigger every time, and that's really cool. I'm happy to see that. Even if I get drugged to it, I'll be happy. I'll happily get drugged to the next one if I can. But okay, so I have one question I want to. Well, I actually have two questions. I want to wrap up with the match, so we'll do somewhat of a rapid fire, and then I want to ask Jeff because Jeff hasn't talked a whole lot. So, favorite stage from the match? Pt2. Just for whatever reason, because you loved the stage, because you loved your performance, whatever reason, what was your favorite stage of the match?
Probably stage 10 or the DQ stage. The most fun stage to shoot was stage 27. I didn't shoot it well.
DQ
Bob
stage.
Yeah. Bob shot it the second fastest with me, so I couldn't have done that well. He's an old man.
That's right.
He shot it really fast, just to be clear. I shot it really fast for me, but he shot it really fast for anybody. But probably stage 10 because it was essentially close, far, shoot while running, activator sequence. So I felt like in one medium course, they distilled sort of 3 cognitive challenges that are fun and that allowed for more variety. So that was my favorite.
Yeah. Bob, favorite?
Man, I'm sitting here trying to think about 30 different stages that I shot.
Okay, Jay, favorite. We'll come back to Bob.
It was the last weekend stage that I shot was probably one of my favorite stages. I mean, I liked the amount of one-handed stages that they had.
Yeah.
Was that the long one or the close one?
It was the closer one.
Okay.
I feel like there was a lot going on with that stage, and you had to do things correctly enough, but the targets weren't difficult enough where it was like the shots couldn't be made. So like that table pickup to a far popper with then like an immediate transition to a low target, and then you had to like decide what to do on this no shoot partial. Like the best decision was to put 2 alpha on it.
Yeah.
And then you had 2 plates and a target and a wide transition at the end. And it was like a 4.5 factor stage. So it had to be done. Like you had to shoot good points. It was a cool stage.
Yeah.
I like that.
Stage 15. Bob told us just run over to the no shoot partial and shoot it really close. And that was good advice.
Yeah, and that's what I did. That was
Bob.
My
best finish in the match was that stage because I listened to Bob.
What's your favorite stage, Bob? Do you know now?
So the one, for whatever reason, that keeps coming into my mind is actually stage 5, which you started on the far right side of the shooting area, and you had an option to either draw to some close paper or you had to draw to a far activator. And drawing to that far activator activated a swinger that you couldn't shoot from that position. You shot it from the final position, so there was no way to time it. And there was some really awkward movement in that stage where the reload was awkward. Some of the movement was awkward. You had the opportunity in the first position to shoot a far paper, which would save some physical movement into a final position, or you could shoot a farther shot from the first position and save some physical movement in the final position. There was kind of a lot of options and a lot going on there for a medium course. It gave you a lot of options at the start. It gave you a lot of options at the finish, and it incorporated some awkward movement into the stage. It's just one that keeps coming into my mind. Medium course, stage 5.
Yeah, that was my second pick. Though I don't like early activating where you don't know the timing, but so that's why it had to get thrown out for me.
2 observations on that stage. That was Jeff's and I's first stage of the match, so there was no chance of enjoying that stage. It was just how can I survive this stage? And 2, I got to watch the standard. It was when I was delegate, and Bob, this awkward movement Bob's talking about, you had to back up out of a position and shoot a target really close on the 180 right after you backed out of it. And I watched all the Filipinos shoot it before any of the Americans shot it, and I watched them, was like, oof, they are all getting their guns, like they are so sketchy, so close to that 180. And it was crazy to see the drastic difference in the gun handling from the Americans to the Filipinos, because every single American left absolutely no doubt their gun is way down range. It's not even close. So USPSA is doing something right, at least at the high level of what we're doing with our gun handling to make sure that we're safe. That it seems like maybe we're not doing that in the rest of the world.
I love seeing safe gun handling.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite things.
But when people are running as hard as they can and they're still thinking about it, it's still safe. That's good.
Yeah, that's a good example of your organization or your ROs doing the shooters a disservice by not enforcing those rules strictly, right? At a local level.
Yep.
Yeah.
And at this match, clearly the ROs had been strongly encouraged to keep everyone in the match.
Yeah.
Like that was the vibe. And there was a couple of ROs who didn't get that memo, and they got pulled from their stages and replaced by different staff.
Yeah.
One guy had 5 DQs, and then he was no longer RO.
Then he was gone.
Oh man, there's so much, but we got to keep going because I want one more podcast. Jeff, favorite stage?
I think it was 18, where it had like you shot some on the right, far, down low, left, move up, left, 3 on the right, then activator sequence and a hard right lean, right in the front position. I think it was the last stage J shot of the match.
Yeah, it was. Actually, that was a good stage. I will have so many memories around that stage, mostly because like Jeff showed up and he said that Saul kicked him out. So,
and I'm so glad I did, because I yard sailed my mags on that stage right after Jeff left the bay.
Yeah,
and I was like, man, that would have been so embarrassing if anybody was watching this who knew me. It's one of the only stage videos I have too, because the Swedish guy filmed me without my knowledge. And he's like, here, let me airdrop that to you. And it's like, do you
Jeff, take us through that stage really quick. What was that one like?
What was
like
that?
Walk us through it.
The last stage?
Stage 18. Yeah, you're no, for you.
For me, I mean, I don't have anything like specific about the stage. I just like the way it was set up, and I like the way it flowed, and I like the way I shot it. It's just a feel-good stage, and everything went well.
Did you stand with the low target visible so you could sort of see everything in one spot? Because this was one of the few start anywhere stages.
Yeah, but I engaged like right, and then I think it went right, far, down, left. I think is how I shot that.
And pick up 1 on the left, and then you loaded into the left side.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then had to look back to pick up 3 1 that you had ignored in the middle, and then 2 next to it.
Yeah, the 3 on the right. And then you move up, and you had an activator sequence, and
I'm pretty sure that was one where we saw
open partial or open steel, and then like a wide transition.
Yeah,
we had a very classic Jeff transition to steel on that stage, where he transitions to a steel faster than he splits like a 10-yard open target.
Amazing. I want to learn to do that.
No, I do that. That's like that's one of those things that I like to train. That's like a tool I like to call on. right? Like,
Oh, dang.
this
That's a
is
good
one of those
idea.
steals. This is one of those steals that I can rip a transition to because it's close enough to this target. I could just ping. Yeah.
Oh, it's so cool.
You did that at your first IPSC Nationals title match a lot. That in Volusia.
Yeah.
That was kind of your vibe.
In all the years that I've been shooting, I've watched 3 people AD an iron sight gun into poppers more than anyone else I've ever shot with. And I've shot with just about everybody. And that is Nils Jonassen, Gianni Giordano, and fucking Jeffrey Cawthorn. They will just sling the gun in the direction of the popper. It will automatically go off and actually hit the damn target. I don't know how.
It's freaking nuts. It's nuts.
It's like, I know it was an AD, but they will never admit it.
No, they won't. It's pure skill. Jeff trains it. He trains those ADs.
I do.
Gosh. To close this one off, I kind of have two. One, like the strong hand, the fast strong hand only was, that was my best stage of the match. Like I shot it really, it was where I really felt like I shot everything well. And yeah, I don't know if I won the stage, but I shot it really, really well. The other one, it wasn't that memorable when I shot it, but it became memorable at Stony Hill because Munecki was in the action shooting live with his commentary.
Oh, yes.
That's right.
I don't know what he's like. Oh, he shoot very fast like an open gun. Is that
like
right?
Open shootout. Like open shootout.
Yeah, open shootout. Yeah.
So it was in the live, and then Leighton was like, "Did you see that reload?"
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That was a really good reload.
That was a really good reload. And you did. You smashed the strong hand stage. That was like a dominant victory by like 7 or 8%.
Yeah, that was one. That was kind of how I was hoping to shoot the whole match, but we didn't. We should have shot one-handed the whole match, maybe. Okay. Last question, because I think I kind of know how Jeff feels because I felt this way after Nationals this year. Okay, you finish the match, you get done. You talked about it a little bit on your solo cast, but what were you feeling? What was that like coming off once you unload and show clear? You finished it.
Yeah, it was I don't know what you call it, but it was a big like emotional dump, right? Like I kind of wanted to cry, but I couldn't cry. But yeah, it was just
you're a better man than me.
Yeah, my eyes are just a little drier than yours, but yeah, it was just everything just sort of bled off, and it just kind of sets in that like, holy cow, that was nuts. I just shot 30 stages without a penalty. First time. That's the first time that's ever happened to me. All right. Like I've not shot a 30 stage match before, but combine any 30 stages throughout my life together, you can't find a 30 stage gap where I didn't shoot a penalty. Right. So yeah, that moment was huge. I had no idea what the score was, but people kept telling me, you're doing really well. I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to fucking look then. And then finished it. And I was just like, man, I bet I did good. It's like, but I don't care. Like that felt amazing. That was, yeah. And then, so then I was like, every time someone finished on our stage, everybody was like, yeah. And then I'd go up and high five them when they finish. Yeah. I thought last stage was special, man.
Yeah. You were geeked up. Did you realize how much weight you were holding before you finished?
No, I had no idea what the scores were, man. Yeah, I had no idea. So I'm not trying to make it about me. Like that was what was weird after Nationals this year in Ohio. Like when I finished shooting, like I'm just sitting there unloading mags, taking mags off, like this, like just okay, match is over. And then like all of a sudden it's like I need to walk away. Like I need people to not see me right now. And I don't know why. I can't explain it. I just need people to not see me right now. Yeah, it was cool to see you get to do that. And I'm glad that you handle that better than I do. But yeah, I don't know about better, man. I mean, what's better?
I don't know.
Yeah, I
It's
don't know.
less embarrassing. It's less
your
embarrassing, but
your moment at nationals where you finished and like you were emotional about it, and like that was a really special moment that I felt like several of us got to share with you. So like
yeah,
I'm never gonna forget that moment at
yeah,
nationals. Yeah, that's a good
yeah.
one.
Well, I don't want to make. I'm not trying to make this match about me, but yeah, like I was curious if you kind of had that same sense, and that's cool.
Yeah, it was special.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll wrap this up, man. Fantastic job to everyone at this match. The shooting part of the match. You guys did the Hit Factor proud. Bob's been a part of the Hit Factor. He just hasn't actually participated. And so yeah, I'm really proud of the performance from everybody, and that's so great match. And tune in for episode 3, and you'll get to hear about the best part of the match if we can keep Jay awake.
I'll try.
All right.